How's it going there, guys? James here from Butler Farms. Man, it is hot out here today. Just when you thought it couldn't get any drier, guys, we got 7/10 of an inch of rain last night, and it cooled off. It was so nice outside after that storm went through. But let me tell you, today's a whole different story. It's in the mid-low 80s, but I bet it's 90% humidity out here. I don't know what's going on in your area, but it is hot. I just wanted to come to you real quick because I'm out here doing something you probably wouldn't guess. What do you think I'm doing right now? I'm shelling beans. Now, if you watch my videos, you know that my beans didn't make this year. And you also know that people bless us with stuff from their garden. That's just kind of the way this lifestyle works. But this is a different kind of bean. Let me show you, let me turn you around right here and show you what's going on. You see all the shells out there. How appetizing does that look? It doesn't look like anything I want to eat. But I tell you what it is. I got an interesting text from my dad today, and they were in town and running around, had some appointments, things like that. And he said, "Hey, I left something in your car. There's a note in it for you." And I was like, I don't really know what's going on with that. I hadn't been down there in a while, so I know I hadn't left anything down there. So I get out there, and it is this whole bag full of beans, okay? And I get the note out, and it turns out that it's a couple from their church, my home church, where I grew up, that was finishing off their garden for the year. And they were saving their beans. They do it every single year. And they decided to bless me with some. Now, you know, I've had discussions with this couple before when I've filled in and preached at their church, at that church and things like that. And, you know, we talked about, hey, I like the old seeds. I like the, you know, the heirloom type seeds. And all this time later, they remembered that. Now, how weird is it that in a year where none of my beans made, and these were bought beans from a store, you know, Blue Lake or whatever it was, and they were horrible. They did nothing. They didn't bloom. The ones that did bloom didn't make. It was just awful. Now, I'll give some of that may have been weather, because you know we had some weird weather this year. But of all years, for them to send me this bag, right? So that's what I'm out here doing now, is I'm shelling beans, and I'm not even probably not even a quarter of a way through that bag. And look at what I've got down in there, guys. That's beans for next year. Now, I normally grow bush beans. You see my fancy bean bucket there, but I normally grow bush beans, and I do that because I want them to kind of all come in at one time. And these are pole beans, but here's the thing about them. You know, when you get beans from the store, you don't know where they came from. You don't know how they've been treated. You don't know how long they've been laying there. And the beauty of living this lifestyle, like I said, I haven't spoken to these people, I guess, in almost a year, because I know it's been at least a year since I filled in there, because I've been at my current church a year. So I don't know, just out of the blue, why they thought of me. But let me tell you something, I am beyond blessed, right? Because here's the thing, this couple, let me see what they called it, Highlander green pole beans. Never heard of them, Highlander. But here's the thing, this couple has been growing this bean for 40 years or more. They got the bean from her father, who had grown them for decades before that, who got them from his father, her grandfather, who had grown them before that. And all of that is within about, I don't know, about a 70-mile radius from where I'm sitting right now. So these are beans that are made for this area. They've been proven in this area. They have a bumper crop every year. They have enough to not only save their beans for the year, after they've done all their canning and everything else, they've saved their beans for the year, and now they're blessing me with them. Guys, I know some people will find this weird, but that is one of the biggest blessings I know of. I get excited about this kind of stuff. You know, I had a lady at my church that knew I was into old heirloom seeds, and she brought me some watermelon seeds that had been passed down in her family for at least 80 years. These, I talked to the man this afternoon. I called him, you know, after I got in the car after work and I saw what they were and I saw his note. I called him up to thank him, and he said that these are at least 80, probably close to 100 years old, that they've been saving these same beans. Guys, you got to get into the lifestyle, right? You got to put those feelers out there. It's a web, right? And people are going to help you out. And you know, I've helped out other people in the past. I've given them produce. I've given them seeds. I've given them meat on occasion. And you know what? I never ask for anything in return. And sometimes those people will return something back to me. Sometimes they never do. I never hear from them again. But yet, this couple is blessing me because I've blessed others. And that's the way the homesteader life works. I told him on the phone this afternoon, I know that it's August. These beans won't be put in the ground until next May, possibly. I'm already excited about them. My dad says that when they have an eating at the church, that this lady, this is what she contributes. She brings the beans. And he said, and his exact words were, "I wait on those beans." So they're obviously good. She puts back tons of them when she cans them. They work here. They're successful here. They've been proven for a century. And now they've blessed me with them. So my whole point in saying that is, you know, get out of your, I know everybody has this, a lot of people in the homesteader community have this idea in their mind that they want to do it all on their own. They want to be totally self-sufficient. That's not the way this lifestyle works. Yes, I want to be by myself. I don't want to really deal with a lot of the things in society, and so I withdraw from that a lot. But that doesn't mean that you withdraw from the homesteader community, because most of the people in the homesteader community are good people. I wouldn't really consider this couple homesteaders. They just like to garden. This is seeds that have been passed down in their family that they grow every year. They grow a big garden every year and they put stuff up. But as far as like living the homesteader lifestyle, I wouldn't say that that's what they're doing at all. But we're like-minded. So when you put yourself out there and you talk to people and you make those connections and that networking, that's the kind of things that start happening. And now I don't have to go down to the local feed store or to the local hardware store and have them to scoop up some, you know, Blue Lake whatevers that, you know, I don't ever have much success with. Sometimes I do. And I'm going to tell you something else. These beans, if you look at them, these were left on the vine to obviously dry out, and you can see that even those that were left are still small beans. They don't get all big and fat and flat and all those kind of things and inedible. So, you know, just a perfect size snap bean. Get about 3 snaps out of that, and they just keep coming. They just keep coming. So beyond blessed, guys, beyond blessed. That is the beauty of this lifestyle. Okay, so make those connections. Yes, it's okay to be by yourself. And you know, again, I've said it many times, don't get fooled by some of these big homesteaders on YouTube. Okay, some of the biggest names in homesteading, they're good ones, but there's also ones that have a full-time staff that care for those gardens. They plant all manner of seed and then claim that they're one thing when they're really not. I've shown you that before. Find people locally. Yes, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I've told you that. Deep South Homestead and something like that. But some of the other ones, like with the initials JR and stuff like that, they're no more homesteaders than people that live in downtown New York City. Okay? They live out in the country. They eat what they grow, but they're not the ones growing it. And they're multimillionaires. They've used it to gain what they have. More power to them. That's not the people I'm looking for. I'm looking for local people like this couple that remember the conversation we had. It had to be a year and a half ago, at least. And when they were picking these beans after they dried to save, they thought of me. That is the way the homesteading, the real homesteading community works. So get out there, make connections, talk to people, tell them what you're interested in. Don't go begging for stuff, but just put it out there. And believe it or not, people will bring you seeds. They'll bring you produce that has seeds in it that you can save. It's all a big network, and it's a beautiful thing. I'm gonna leave it right there, guys. I got a bunch more to shell. These are not the easiest things to shell when they get dry. If you've ever tried to save bean seeds, it's not like shelling fresh stuff at all. It's a little bit of work, but I got to get these done because I'm gonna put them in a freezer bag, and I'm gonna put them in the freezer until next spring, and then I'm gonna put them in the ground. And it may take 3 or 4 per hole because these are old seeds and they don't germinate like all these new fancy hybrids and everything else that they're selling now. But they are proven. They are proven. So until next time, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's start growing this thing again. And always remember, here at Butler Farms, we love you. God bless you. This is James from Butler Farms, and we'll be seeing you.